Alright, today we're going to review Bright the movie with Will Smith. Here I got That One Filmmaker. Today we're going to be talking about this movie, probably be roasting it most of the time because, personally, I didn't find anything good about it. I don't know if you did, Blake.
Yeah.
But,
it's probably one of the worst movies of all time, in my opinion.
I personally don't think that, but I will say I didn't see anything good with it, really, except for maybe the idea. Because I don't know how you feel about that, but I thought they could have expanded upon this idea and made it 10 times better, but it just, I don't know, very poor execution in my opinion.
It's just like, the whole thing is that it's a competent movie. It's a Netflix movie, so you expect it to be, you know, put to some kind of quality above, you know, like
right.
a $0 project that you see on YouTube. But I mean, like, it's kind of amazing how something that was worth like a budget of $90 million almost has nothing good about it, and something like, yeah, you see on YouTube that has a budget of fucking peanuts is like leaps and bounds better than it.
Netflix originals, I can kind of give them some slack, but that's a lot of money, and seeing that money be put in this movie and then seeing the output of the special effects, so
it's just bad.
It is. And when I saw the fairy at the beginning of the movie, like flying around and stuff, I was like, oh boy.
It looks terrible.
Yeah, it looked like shit. And
Will Smith is swinging at jack shit.
yeah, it's just an awkward fucking scene. I guess the orc makeup is okay, but what?
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, some things are like, some movies have better makeup, but I mean,
yeah,
I can. It's somewhat realistic. It doesn't look like a fucking mask.
Yeah, right,
put on the people's faces. It does look like there was talent put into, you know, the orc makeup.
That's true, but to me, the elves look like shit. They just look like they just put pointy ears on them, and that's pretty much it. I thought they looked like shit.
It's just normal people.
Yeah, normal people with pointy ears. The one thing I did like from this movie was there was one scene, I think I already told you this, but that scene with like the one elf girl like splattered over the wall. I thought that was a pretty cool visual, but you know, we never really get a moment like that ever again. It's just kind of boring shit afterwards.
Just a bunch of random shootouts in bars.
Yeah.
Over and over again. Like, I guess when they were coming up with the idea, it was like a short film, like 30-40 minute short film, but they wanted to make a feature length. It was like, alright, let's just add in like 5 or 6 fucking shootouts and just add that to the script, add in some improv dialogue, and next thing you know, we'll have a whole hour and a half movie. See,
even the action in the movie, like, it's super boring, and that's why you forgot about it, because it's forgettable. Like, I thought everyone was, like, too mean-spirited in this movie, you know?
It's not realistic. I mean, this is a movie with, you know, fantastical creatures and everything, but, like,
yeah,
the character motivations and the character dialogue doesn't feel like, you know, it's supposed to be like that.
Right, the setting should at least be realistic. I understand, like, there's fantasy creatures and all that, but it should be, like, in everyday suburbia or everyday city life, or just, you know, real life stuff with fantasy creatures. So for all the humans to like act like pretty much huge dicks, I didn't like I didn't like anyone in this movie. No one was really likable. Will Smith was kind of unlikable too, to me, honestly. I thought everyone was just a giant bitch.
I mean, usually he's likable in like a lot of movies.
Yeah.
You know, Will Smith is the actor that basically plays himself in almost everything he's in.
Yeah, dude, he's super charismatic, but I mean, I don't know. I just didn't like his character in this movie at all. It's just
he's just like a basic cop.
Pretty much.
This movie has various different like genres of film that it's trying to combine into one whole project.
And none of it
works.
works.
One thing they're trying to do like this whole fantasy sort of thing, which I'm fine with. It's also trying to be a serious cop drama. It's also trying to be a buddy cop movie. It's also trying to be a racial politics movie. It's 4 or 5 different genres, and they're all blended together.
And they're all like,
none of it works.
Honestly, they follow like every single cliche in all those plot lines, and the buddy cop one especially. It's like, oh, he doesn't like his cop friend at first, and he grows to like him more at the end. This is the most predictable piece of shit movie, honestly.
Yeah, that's actually a really great way to describe it. Predictable.
I knew, like, every single scene that was about to happen, and I was debating whether to shut it off or not, but I only continued to watch it so we could talk about it, make a video about it. I would never watch this for enjoyment. If I did that, I would have stopped at around 30 minutes as well.
Because yeah, like it just repeats over and over again.
Exactly. And then of
Fucking
course you
perfect
got
movie.
those like other orc characters who are, you know, they start off as bad guys, but they come around and become good guys, like the ones that capture him. It's like
Yeah, and there's like a prophecy or something, like Joel Edgerton's character
yeah, prophecy.
is like...
Everything in this movie is just so predictable.
I remember when it got to the part with the guy with, like, it was like the old man and the sword.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And they captured him. I remember I was so confused because I was thinking, man, shouldn't this just be like a normal cop movie?
Yeah.
Because I guess I'm not really that much of a fan of fantasy all that much. I mean, I'm not going to shit on it, but every time I watch it, I'm never really able to get into it. But if I want to watch something that's fantasy related, I just want to watch something that's fantasy related.
Right.
But blending this whole cop thing, buddy cop, racial politics, and then this whole fantasy, it just doesn't blend together, you know, because there are genres that work together. Like, you know, you got horror comedy, drama comedy, fantasy drama, you know, you blend them together and it works. And you can come up with great sorts of genres, like genre mixing. It's an art form in itself, but this movie tries to be so many things. It's, you know, it's a jack of all trades, but it's a master of none. It's literally a piece of shit in every single thing it attempts to do.
Yeah, and like what I said before is that the idea is creative, but the way they executed it was just, it just fails, it misses the target completely. Because I thought, you know...
Yeah, like, I'm pretty sure it could be good, like, the whole idea, it could be made into something good.
Yeah, but it's just like, there's fantasy creatures in everyday life, but they don't really put that into good use. It's just fantasy creatures walking down sidewalks, or they have a regular job, and it's like elves and orcs only, basically, and then, you know, those crappy CGI fairies, but yeah, I just, like...
Elves represent, like, rich, white class
yeah,
people.
Stuff like that.
First of all, what do you think about the directing by David Ayer?
It reminded me a lot of Suicide Squad, which makes sense, because, as we know, he's the director of Suicide Squad. Yeah, and that's not a good thing.
Was Suicide Squad worse than this movie?
Honestly, I'm one of the few people who thought Suicide Squad wasn't completely terrible. I thought it was just a regular bad movie, because I feel like there are some things to like about it. Like, there is some character development. I do like the style a little bit, even though it's kind of clunky at some points. Bright, on the other hand, it had one cool visual scene, and yeah, that's about it, honestly. And some good makeup and practical effects, but that's yeah.
Yeah, it's just kind of, you know, bland. Like, the one thing I could say about the directing is that it's not, like, really mishandled. It's not so bad to the point where you're saying, oh my god, this movie is so fucking madly directed that you don't want to watch it. Like, you want to close the movie, you don't want to watch it anymore.
Yeah, there's nothing spectacular about it or noticeable. It's just the directing's just like, you know,
mediocre.
You're right. Yeah.
It's just okay.
Yeah. Why don't we talk about the dialogue? The really riveting, awesome dialogue. Every word is fuck. That's what I noticed from this. That's what I took from this movie.
They swear all the time. All of their, like, scenes are just like my videos. Like,
yeah, mine too. I say fuck all the time, but I don't think I say it that much. They, like, every single sentence has the word fuck in it. And when they do it that much and it's noticeable, it's kind of cringeworthy, honestly.
That's fucking good. Noted. Meanwhile, that orc fuck is still out there because Jacoby chose clan blood over the badge.
Or the motherfucker just got away.
So next time, this pig motherfucker makes a cop suck start his fucking 12 gauge. Only this time, it's Brown, or it's Hicks, or it's fucking me.
The guy that was, like, writing the script, it sounds like a 13-year-old wrote it.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. The other parts of the dialogue, like, I didn't find anything I liked or noticeable or any cool lines. It's just... Either it's intolerable or mediocre, just like the directing, yeah.
Nothing stands out.
Nothing stands out.
Cinematography? Was there any, like, cool shots? You said that there's that one shot.
Yeah, that one shot with the elf splattered on the wall, but that was it. Everything else, forgettable. I don't remember. The shots are fine, the cinematography is fine, but it's nothing to praise about. And honestly, in my opinion, from a technicality standpoint, I think the movie did fine.
I mean, it's a $90 million movie.
Yeah.
You know, it's competent. It's not, you know, a shitty indie project.
Right.
You know, it has money put into it.
I mean, anyone who's given $90 million has the power to create good cinematography and all that stuff to what makes a movie look good.
It's just the problem with the movie is, you know, like, the skeleton of it, like the bare bones, like, when
the
you get down to what's
story,
required for
pacing,
a movie.
characters, like,
Yes.
all the important stuff.
Yeah, it's just this movie fucking sucks at all of it.
Why don't we talk about the story if we can remember it?
But all I remember is just at the beginning, Joel Edgerton and Will Smith meet, and they're like, "Hey, what's up? Fuck you! I don't like you." And then they go to various places with a sword and get shot at, and then at the end, it's like, "Oh, Joel Edgerton, you're a legend. You're a prophecy."
Yeah.
And then it's a happy ending.
That's pretty much it. Oh yeah, and there's some like blonde elf girl in the middle of that who may or may not be dead. I don't know. I don't know how she lived at the end.
I remember that. Like at the ending, like there's just this random girl that somehow has like everything to do with the plot.
I mean, for this movie to include so many genres of other movies and even have like race involved, it's incredible how simplistic it is overall.
Mm-hmm. Like it's just hard for me to take this whole like the racial part of it seriously, because to be honest, if this movie had nothing to do with like fantasy and this whole like powerful wand shit, and it was just a normal white cop and a black cop, white guy doesn't like a black guy, like it would have been okay. It would have been a little, bland. Yeah. But I would have appreciated it. It's just that it's hard to take it seriously with all this, fantasy shit. Like, oh, the humans don't like the orcs, and the elves are the rich people, and
it's just they never expanded upon this idea. I feel like it shouldn't have been a cop movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like it would have been much better if that stuff wasn't included, because it just feels out of place overall in this fantasy meets real world setting.
No fair. Yeah, the FBI were involved a lot.
Oh yeah, let's talk about that. The elf guy and that like his bodyguard or whatever that like followed them throughout the movie.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell was their purpose?
It just, I guess they needed just more characters.
Yeah, because they didn't do anything in this movie. They followed the main character and the orc guy, and that's it. When I hear names such as Dark Lord or some shit like that in real life conversations, it's pretty cringeworthy, if I'm gonna be honest.
Like, if it was in something like...
Like, if it wasn't a fantasy movie, right.
It would be fine.
Yeah.
It makes sense. Like,
it fits the setting.
The Dark Lord's coming to kill us all.
Yeah.
But this is a movie with guns, police officers. It's in Los Angeles.
Yeah, it's like, it's modern, so...
Yeah, it doesn't work.
Nobody could have that, like, in their history of some Dark Lord or some shit. I don't even know how the history works in here and the fantasy, because, I don't know, it's just all too messy. That's also another flaw with the dialogue, is just having this fantasy talk in a modern setting, because when they're not saying fuck every sentence, then I'm hearing cringeworthy dialogue of stuff that just doesn't fit in the setting.
Dark Lord Satan,
Power of the Sword, and all this shit, yeah.
Right, you're the Destiny, you are the Chosen One. It's just the same old. The wand is probably like the magical MacGuffin in the movie.
Yeah, and here's the thing. They say stuff like that in Harry Potter, but they say it while they're in the fantasy world. It's not like they're always talking about Voldemort in the real world and all Dark Lord.
That's actually a good point. Like, Harry Potter, you got... It takes place in the real world, but in order to go to Hogwarts, they go on a train, and it travels to, like, a hidden... like world within,
right.
Earth. It's kind of like whatever in Black Panther, Wakanda or whatever.
Right,
you can't see it, but in this movie, they are just around. Like, orcs are just walking around Los Angeles, and fairies are just like, I guess, birds. That doesn't make any sense though. They're not animals. They can talk.
I don't know. Yeah, like they want us to have this feeling of we should, be inclusive and treat everyone equally, but they treat the fairies like shit still. Like the orcs, people want orcs to be good and elves be on the equal playing field, but the fairies, nah, fuck them. They're bugs basically.
What would you give this movie out of 10, personally?
Probably like a 2.
Just a 2?
2 out of 10, yeah.
Man, I don't know. Like, I guess I would give it a 1.5 because all it gets right is it's competent. It's a normal, everyday movie. It's not hard to watch.
It's filmed okay. Like it's tolerable. It's the way it's filmed.
It's a $90 million Netflix movie.
Yeah, but the meat of the movie, like the important stuff, like characters and plot, it's just lowers the score all the way down.
The skin of the meat.
Yeah,
it's not perfect. It looks okay, but the meat, you know, what you
Right.
what you want when you watch a movie, you know, characters and moral, you know, character motivation, development. It's not there. It's all shit.
Exactly.
It's like you're biting into a giant piece of shit. You know, you don't care about anyone.
I
You know, I
give a
don't want Joel Edgerton's character of like the orc guy to, you know, become respected because I don't understand the basis of why everyone hates orcs. It doesn't make sense to me.
Apparently,
You know, it
the
just
race of
starts out.
orcs, like in the past, they did something that I don't know.
But that's all they give for development, right?
Yeah, but it doesn't make any sense because every single race throughout history has done fucked up shit. So why are orcs being singled out? I don't understand. Because this
it's
is
like-
take place in modern age. Like it's you know, it seems like everything is the same, like our world, except there's fantasy creatures. So I don't see if I don't know if the history's changed or something. I don't know, but
Their hate is being insisted
Yeah.
upon, you know, the viewer.
yeah.
It's not being like shown. It's just like they're insisting that yeah, everyone just hates orcs.
I understand if there's a couple of people who feel that way, but it feels like everyone in the damn movie feels like that, and that just
Like all orcs
not
are
realistic.
terrible.
Yeah, that's not realistic at all.
Bright sucks.
Bright does suck indeed.
It's a piece of goddamn motherfucking cunt ass bitch shit.